1510 and 105.3 FM.
The views expressed on the following program do not necessarily reflect the views of Money Radio staff, management, or advertisers, and do not represent an offer to buy or sell any securities. Some interviews heard on this program may be sponsored by the participants. It's time for Health Futures with Cypress HomeCare Solutions, Bob Roth. This is Arizona's only show dedicated to providing you with expert advice on how to live a longer, healthier, and happier life. To learn more, call 602-264-8009. That's 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Bob Roth.
Good afternoon. You're listening to Health Futures. I'm your host, Bob Roth. And we're coming at you live from the Scottsdale Air Park. It is Friday. Hard to believe, June the 2nd. And we are just right now into the dog days of summer. Man, is it hot out there. But you know what? It's nice and cool here in the studios, right here at Money Radio, 1510 AM, 105.3 FM. And if you're just tuning in for the first time, Health Futures is the name of our show. And our show is about how our older adult population can live a healthier, happier life. We've been on the air now for 4.5 years, and the secret ingredient to our show is bringing incredible guests on. It's not what your host, Bob Roth, me, has to share with you. It's what our guests bring and what they contribute to our show. So how does our older adult population live a healthier, happier life? You know, we are in this phase, if you would, of our existence, if you would, in terms of people. We are aging at a very rapid rate. And I know I've shared this on the show, and if you've heard this before, you certainly definitely have this ingrained into your mind. If you haven't, I want you to get your arms around this. So there's a Dr. Ken Dykewald. He is an authority on aging. He wrote a book called The Age Wave back in 1986. And he predicted a lot of the stuff that we are dealing with today in terms of aging and the challenges that we deal with aging. And one of the facts that he shared with us, it was last June, is that 2/3 of all people that have ever lived to the age of 65 or older on our planet Earth, and I'm not talking the United States, I'm talking about Mother Earth, 2/3 of our population that has ever lived to the age of 65 or older is alive today. So we have never seen anything like this. We know the stat about 10,000 people a day are turning 65, and that is the baby boomers, those that were born between 1946 and 1964. I qualify as one of them, and I caught it on the tail end. I think my guests here both do as well, so that we have a lot to talk about as it relates to baby boomers. But I also want to share with our listening audience, I really see 3 ingredients to make this whole aging process a success. And one of them we're going to talk a lot about at great length. And those ingredients are, 1, innovation and technology. It is critical for our success in helping people age in place. And I want to share with our listening audience, statistically, we know 92% of older adults want to age in place. So why can we not do that? So 92% of older adults surveyed, 65 and older, want to age in place. The second thing is going to be public policy. We need our government to move forward to enact laws to be able to afford people to age successfully in place. 3 weeks ago, I was in Washington, D.C., lobbying our legislators, our lawmakers. I went and saw Senator Jeff Flake, Senator John McCain, and Congresswoman Kristen Sinema talking about a bill that just got presented on the floor. It's called the Credit for Caring Act, and it is a family caregiver credit, tax credit bill that is out there right now. Now, why am I so interested in it? I don't have a horse in this race, but and Julie, I look at you and Laraine, and I'll introduce our guests in a second. We work with families, And family caregivers are the unsung heroes in our community, and they make the ultimate sacrifice. So we need public policy. And the third piece is people. We need more people entering the healthcare field. We need more people entering the caregiving field where there is a severe shortage of people. So with that, today we're going to talk mainly on innovations and technologies. So I want to take the opportunity now to introduce my guests in the studio. And as I said at the top of the hour, guests are what make my show. So we have two extraordinary guests here in the studio. To my right is Laraine Rodgers. She is the principal of a company that she has, a consulting firm that is called Navigating Transitions. Welcome to the show, Laraine.
Thank you so much.
It's good to have you here. And then just to her right, my left, is a new friend that I made, and she knows a number of people in my organization, and I'm proud to have her here on the show. Julie Wentz. She is the Director of Business Development for both the West Side and Central Arizona Valley for a little company in the community setting. It's called Brookdale. If you've not heard of them, they're in Brentwood, Tennessee, and they are a juggernaut, a large player in this field, and they are also breaking down paradigms and creating innovations that we are talking about. So Julie Wentz, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
It's good to have you both. And, now that I'm on the topic of innovations and now that I've introduced the two of you, I'm looking at James and we may be ready for a break. But, I want you guys to just pitch in before we start our second segment. Talk to me, Laraine, because you deal with innovations and technology in your consulting practice. Tell me what you see or what you are seeing out there.
Well, I'm seeing a lot of positive forward movement. Over the years, we've always had some technology, some products, and it was always hard on the person who had to use the services that these products could help them achieve because things were scattered. Now we're looking at things in a broader base. We're realizing that services is what it's all about and how we can really use technology as an enabler. It all is about collaboration, whether it's high-tech or high-touch. How do we organize all of this and focus on what the end result is going to be for the patient, for, in our case, that aging adult who does want to stay at home?
Nice. Awesome. And it's so true. I mean, our older adults want to stay at home.
Yes, we do. Oh, excuse me.
We do. But
yeah.
You're a baby boomer like me. So
yes, I am.
And we are reshaping and redefining how we age. And we will continue to do so. Julie?
Yeah, well, I was just thinking, I totally agree with that. A lot of it, too, is how technology is actually changing seniors' lives because it allows them to stay more connected and engaged with the outside world. One of the perceptions that we work with to challenge at Brookdale is the idea that life inevitably becomes routine once you reach a certain age. So as we leverage that technology, it's a great way to push against the perception that we have the limitless potential. So it makes it easier for our residents to socialize with family and friends that aren't close by, or they might be able to not see on a regular basis, and then it provides opportunities for learning and growth with the technology. There's lots of online learning applications, brain games, mindfulness apps, so much that the seniors who face these challenges, such as with low mobility or isolation, they can still easily use it. But I think one of the biggest exciting benefits, like you said, is learning this technology and the expertise that they have the opportunity to have a voice or to make an impact on the digital world, just like everybody else, regardless of age.
It's interesting. I'm a part of this movement, and I did a presentation this morning for Leading Age of Arizona, and it is a nonprofit, and it is a trade association for those that are in the skilled nursing and CCRC, which is the continuing care community. Mainly those institutions are not-for-profit as well. And I talked about this movement, Aging 2.0, and I've talked about it here on the show. It's basically where the aging world and tech collide. And I got to tell you, the young minds and some of the innovations that have come up are phenomenal. Yeah. And we're coming up on a break, so we'll talk more about it in the second segment. But I will tell you, we introduced some of the things that has been discovered and some of the innovations that have emerged as a result of the Aging 2.0 movement. And it is phenomenal. I mean, let's face it. We know 92% of Americans and people surveyed 65 and older want to age in place. We also know that almost one-third of our population that is 65 and older is living home alone. And then lastly, we know the biggest challenge that older adults are asked about that they need to resolve is transportation. And many of them lose the ability to drive or cannot drive at night. And how do they get from point A to point B? So we want to talk about that in the second segment. I love the tunes that my engineer, James, has put out. It is Friday here, June the 2nd. You're listening to Health Futures. I've got Julie Wentz, the Director of Business Development from Brookdale in the studio. And I've got Laraine Rodgers from Innovation Consulting, Navigating Transitions. We'll be right back.
Hey, Money Radio listeners, this is Gary Kalbaum. Make sure you tune in for my show, Investor's Edge. You'll get my take on the markets and the world and what to look out for tomorrow. Investor's Edge is one of Money Radio's longest-running shows, so don't miss it.
You can listen to Investor's Edge Monday through Friday at 5 p.m. here on Money Radio 1510 AM and 105.3 FM.
Get total freedom in your life safely and quickly. Build wealth and passive income so you never worry about working till you drop, losing your job, or retiring in poverty. Hi, I'm Steve Davis, an investor in thousands of units over the years. Now it's your turn. Del Walmsley has been my mentor for nearly 25 years, and he's taught over 100,000 people just like you the principles of financial freedom through live one-on-one mentoring at Lifestyles Unlimited and his national radio show. I'm excited to tell you about the real estate workshop that changed my life. The workshop gets you on the inside of what we do and what we believe and unlocks the 5 ways we make money in real estate. Just like your personal trainer, Lifestyles Unlimited will motivate, encourage, and teach you so you can get in the best financial shape of your life. Call 866-971-8970 or go to luiphoenix.com. That's luiphoenix.com to register for the workshop that will change your life and let you stop worrying about working till you drop, losing your job, or retiring in poverty.
If you're listening to this message, then that's a good sign. In fact, we're always interested in good signs. Good signs identify people and places. Good signs communicate important information. With our business, we not only encourage good signs, we create them. We're Croy Sign Systems. Our signs identify, direct, and inform so you can navigate through life faster and easier. And that's a really good Croy sign. Call Croy Sign Systems today at 480-619-6070 or visit us online at kroysigns.com.
Never enter or swim in the canal. SRP reminds you to be safe around water. For more tips, visit srpnet.com/safety, srpnet.com/safety.
Now back to Health Futures, taking stock in you. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Cypress HomeCare Solutions, Bob Roth.
Welcome back. You're listening to Health Futures. I'm your host, Bob Roth, and we're on our second segment. If you missed the first one, please go up to our website at cypresshomecare.com. Click on the media button and then drop down to the radio show, and you will catch this show, and you catch about 160 others that we've been bringing to you. So just so you know, we're talking about innovations in technology. And I have got Laraine Rodgers, who is the principal for Navigating Transitions. They're an innovation consulting company. And I've also got Julie Wentz, the Director of Business Development for Brookdale, here in the studio. And we're talking about these things. And before we took a break, I was talking about how the collision is happening between our older adult population and innovations, and how important it is, and how really the platform that the curator, if you will, of this is a group, and it's a movement called Aging 2.0. And Aging 2.0 is really, it curates this opportunity to happen. And I want to just share a little story with you guys as well as our listening audience. So we do a global pitch event, and there are over 50 chapters worldwide, and there are about 30 of them right here in this country. And Phoenix is one of the hubs. We started our chapter 2 years ago. Our first pitch event was down at the Seed Spot, which is down on Central, and it's a curator, if you would, for innovation there. And we had about 120 attendees, and We had 6 people pitch, and the woman that won was with a company called Silvernest, silvernest.com, and they have an incredible solution for those that are looking for living and can't afford to live in a Brookdale community or one of the expensive group homes. She not only won in Phoenix, but she finished second overall. And she closed out her round of funding, and she's off and running and has got an incredible solution. This year, I just want to share this with this audience so you can really feel this. This year, our ambassador, Sydney Peck, who is a professor over at ASU, leads their entrepreneurship program. She's on sabbatical now, but at the time, she arranged that we would have our pitch event at the same time that the Venture Devils, which is part of the engineering school, their entrepreneurship program, had their pitch event. So there were about 600 to 700 people on the Venture Devil side at ASU SkySong, and then there was about 110 people for the Aging 2.0 event, our pitch event. And what we did was we had the award ceremony together. And I want to just share with you guys and our listening audience, it was so inspiring. I mean, all these kids, 18, 19, 20-year-olds, are pitching in the Venture Devils format. Now, there was an alumni that gave a grant of $5.2 million or $5.1 million. So they give away every year over $200,000 to these students with these innovations that they come up with. So they were kicking it off, and I knew the woman that heads the program. I had met her at the Sun Health Retreat, the board and community retreat, just several months earlier. And she walked over to me and she says, "Bob, are you representing each?" And I said, "Yeah." And she goes, "Are you presenting?" I said, "Yeah, I'm going to present the winners." And I asked her, "How much time can I speak before these kids?" And she says, "How much time do you need?" I said, 10 or 15 minutes. She goes, "Go for it." So she allowed me to kick it off. And I spent 10 minutes talking about how important it was for those kids to really help us find innovations and solutions. I asked how many pitched, because I didn't see their pitch, on anything relating to aging, and there was no hands that went up. And I will tell you that I gave them a homework assignment. I said, I'm going to be back next year, and I want to see what you guys have. And, I mean, it was energizing. It was inspiring. And afterwards, one of the professors came up to me and wants to do a project with his class over at the entrepreneurship school. And I'm talking to several people here in our community where these kids, these students, will help create some of these innovations that we all need. So there's this great movement, this curation of talent that is out there. So it's exciting. It really is. So I want to bring it back. We talked about transportation. And Julie, I know that Brookdale, that's one of the challenges. And I haven't had this conversation with you, but I would imagine, because I can envision my dad and his wife moving into one of your communities. And I know he loves his cars, and at one time he's had 4. So even having 2 cars, automobiles, moving into a community, I would imagine that you only have possibly 1 spot per resident. So what do they do with that other car? What do they do when they can't drive anymore? How's Brookdale handling that?
Well, there will be some communities where someone in the independent living may bring their car with them, but a good majority are coming in without a vehicle. So that's one of the things that I think we're all going to be facing as we age too, is when we lose what we think is that independence. We can't drive anymore. What are we going to do? So all of our communities have the ability to have transportation. So we can schedule, usually within a specific mile radius of each community, we can schedule doctor's appointments. We have outings for the residents. They can go to the grocery store. They have events that they do. But there's a lot of residents and a lot of things need to be scheduled ahead of time. So we can't get that entire fit for everybody of making sure we can get everybody where they need to be. So that was one of the cool things where Brookdale actually partnered with Lyft last year. So we actually have Lyft involved in quite a few of our communities. So what'll happen is this transportation piece. So with the rideshare service concierge platform, the Brookdale associates can literally schedule the rides for the resident. They can either do it through their phone or even with their independent living as they start using their technology, because we do have iPads and a lot of the residents have their iPhones or their smartphones. We can teach them also to how to use that Lyft app. So it takes a good percentage assistance with the folks so they can actually get out and feel more independent. And it actually turned out better than we expected because of the independent living that we first launched it with. Over 50% of the residents tried the service, and more than 30% repeatedly have used the service. So we're teaching with a lot of how we deal with our folks and residents is keeping them on top of technology or on top of making sure their life can be as good as it can be. We teach them how to use the Lyft app so they can literally call themselves and do it. So we bridge that place of how do we keep our residents as independent as possible. They don't feel like, okay, life is, I am now somewhere all the time, I can't get out. So we can actually help them in all directions with the transportation.
Love it. Love it. You're using one of the disruptors out there in your community to help them get from point A to point B, because that is when we survey older adults, transportation is on the top of the list that they're concerned about.
Right.
I'm not sure you know about this one company. Maybe you do. Envoy America.
Yes.
Envoy America was one of our pitch contestants. They actually pitched in Sacramento and won. So they are going on to San Francisco, and they're just a little bit. They're a horse of a different color, only in the sense that they're not a pure disruptor, but they are a disruptor in the sense that they'll do a lot of what Lyft does, but they'll also take that resident and that older adult. If they're going shopping, they'll go into the store with them and help them with the bags. They'll also go into the doctor's appointment if they need some assistance. So they don't do caregiving, but they're there to assist them. And they'll wait as well, which is really nice. So it's just that different added benefit, but that's what I love about innovations. People thinking outside the box to take it to the next level, to make it more useful and safer for older adults.
And a better quality of life.
Exactly.
That's for sure. I think quality of life is really important. And what you talked about with that person actually helping the bag and going forward, that's really an extension of an existing service. When you talked earlier, Bob, about how things would collide, like the collision of aging 2.0 and all this technology that's coming together, that's really, that intersection is where innovation really comes into play and gives us tremendous opportunities. Things that maybe we've used for a long time can be looked at in different ways. It could be linked, it could be networked, or you could step back and see a whole new opportunity of how you could extend that care to the aging adult. And there's also experience level. Right now, we have some adults who are very technically adept, and they get it, or they think they get it in there, and they've been using it for a while. Some of the folks you've talked about, you're training them on how to use the Lyft app, but some people are never going to understand fully that, but they can understand a simple interface. So there's options. And as we age, there's a lot of opportunity then to use more feature, more function, and that gives rise to an overall system of services. It always has to be service-driven, not product-oriented. It's not the cutest whiz-bang, but it's what can you do with this, and how can you potentiate, maybe if you put several things together, how can you really deliver that care?
And, you talk about service, and we have a lot of older adults that are having problems utilizing their smartphones. And we've surveyed them. I did a panel with Aging 2.0 back in February. My 4 panelists all had smartphones. Only one of them used it more than just for a phone. But we have voice activation that can work, and I want to get into that in our third segment. It's hard to believe we're 2 down. We got 1 more to go. We're at halftime at Health Futures. We'll be right back.
Bottom of the hour, we pause for a look at the world's news. Then we're back with Money Talk. We're Money Radio 1510 AM and 105.3 FM.
Dozens of state and local governments say they remain committed to the Paris Climate Change Accord, even though President Trump has backed out of it. White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer says municipalities have that authority.
If a mayor or a governor wants to enact a policy, that's on a range of issues, they're accountable to their own voters, and that's what they should do. We believe in states' rights, and so if a locality, a municipality, or a state wants to enact a policy that their voters or their citizens believe in, then that's what they should do.
3 former Penn State officials have all been sentenced to jail time for failing to report now convicted sexual predator Jerry Sandusky to authorities. Former Penn State President Graham Spanier and former Vice President Gary Schultz face at least 2 months in jail. Former Athletic Director Tim Curley has been given a 3-month prison term. The rest of their sentences will be served under house arrest. On Wall Street, the Dow gaining 61 points, the S&P up 8. I'm Ann Cates.
Message and data rates may apply.
If you're considering going back to school, ask yourself the following questions. Do you need the flexibility to take classes on your schedule? Do you have college credits you need transferred? Do you want to earn a quality degree from a world-renowned university? If you answered yes to any of these questions, Arizona State University is the perfect school for you. Arizona State University offers over 100 highly ranked degree programs 100% online. You'll earn the same degree as you would on campus from wherever you are, on your schedule. Plus, ASU Online accepts most transfer credits. For information, text WORTH to 35517. Learn for yourself why the Wall Street Journal ranks ASU 5th in the nation for producing the best qualified graduates, and why 88% of ASU grads are recruited within 90 days of graduation. Learn to grow, learn to succeed, and learn to thrive at Arizona State University. To learn more about ASU online degrees, text WORTH to 35517. That's WORTH to 35517.
For a happier life, remember, it's your money. Be smart with it. And listening every day to Money Radio will cause your money IQ to go up, way up.
Hi, this is Ken from Online Trading Academy Phoenix. For a fresh take on the news and your money, check out The Right Side of the Trade, noon Thursdays and Saturdays on Money Radio 1510 AM and 105.3 FM. To understand how the markets really work, come to a free Online Trading Academy half-day class. When you come out, you'll also get a tablet with access to additional online courses at no charge. For free tickets, call 8448-INCOME. That's 844-846-2663 now.
Arizona investment property experts are now your Mexico investment property experts. Join investment property experts for an informative Investing in Mexico real estate workshop. Learn about investing in Puerto Peñasco, Mexico, and how you can earn a net 15% annual return. IPX's crown jewel in Mexico is the Esmeralda Resort, located on Sandy Beach in Puerto Peñasco, Mexico. Puerto Peñasco is the popular beach getaway known as Rocky Point. Only 3.5 hours away from Phoenix, Arizona, this is the perfect investment and vacation opportunity for you. As an investor, you will not only earn 15%, but you will have access to numerous investment projects. Currently, we are offering Esmeralda investors discounted lots, houses, and condos that can be purchased and flipped. And best of all, everything is 100% turnkey. With the home port commencing construction this year and its planned completion in 2019, this project will be a big boost to the economy and investment real estate in Rocky Point. Learn more by attending an informative workshop. Call 602-254-6244 or visit ArizonaInvestmentPropertyExperts.com.
Are you a business owner? Are you maximizing the internet and social media to grow your business? Then you need to check out Money Radio's premier technology show, Fast Turtles Digital Pros, with Eric Olson and Graham Ware. These two digital wizards will educate and give you the latest information on all things digital, social media, SEO, PPC, and digital engagement. This is the future. Don't miss out and tune in Mondays at 1 and Saturdays at 8 for Fast Turtle Digital Pros exclusively on Money Radio 1510 AM and 105.3 FM.
Now at Cece's, party with bacon stuffed crust and new grilled cheese stuffed crust pizza, joining the original topped with pepperoni on the unlimited buffet. Just $5 and change at Cece's. Prices may vary.
I'm Bruce Vail with Your Money Now. A number of big companies expressed disappointment in President Trump's decision to withdraw the U.S. from the Paris Climate Accord. But some corporate leaders are saying the move will have little immediate impact on their investments and strategies. Some mining companies hailed the decision, saying the climate rules would have threatened jobs and economic growth. Activist investor Carl Icahn is adding to his holdings in the automotive services sector. Mr. Icahn's automotive business said it would buy Precision Auto Care for an undisclosed amount and will pair Precision's more than 250 locations with Icahn Automotive Group's 1,000 corporate-owned shops. Icahn's company owns Pep Boys, Federal Mogul, and Auto Plus. On Wall Street, stocks are higher in the final hour of trading, with the Dow Jones Industrial Average up 64 points. The Nasdaq Composite is up 54, and the S&P 500 is up 8 points. That's Your Money Now.
There are two things every parent wants when their child goes to college: for their child to do well and a way to afford it. Now, with Discover Student Loans, parents can have the best of both worlds. Not only do our loans cover up to 100% of school-certified costs with zero fees, but we'll give them a cash reward for each new student loan if they earn at least a 3.0 GPA or equivalent. That means every A in history or B in math could help them earn a cash reward for good grades. Just one of the many ways we treat you like you'd treat you. Apply now in 15 minutes or less at discoverstudentloans.com. Limitations apply.
Stocks are soaring, and construction spending across America has been on the rise. If you've been waiting to build, the time is now. Whether you want to expand your business or you want to build a new garage, call General Steel today. Our metal buildings are custom designed for your needs. For example, a 40 by 60 is a great space for an auto shop or 3-car garage. And if you call General Steel today, it's on sale now for under $25,000. Call 866-95-STEEL. 866-95-STEEL. That's 866-957-8335.
Now back to Health Futures, taking stock in you. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Cypress Home Care Solutions, Bob Roth.
Welcome back. You're listening to Health Futures, taking stock in you. We're on our third segment. We're coming at you live from the Scottsdale Air Park. It is Friday, June the 2nd. 2017, and we're talking about technology, we're talking about innovations, and I've got two really incredible guests that are contributing to our conversation. First on the deck is Laraine Rodgers. She's the principal of Navigating Transitions. They're an innovation consulting practice, which it makes her ideal here to be talking to us. And the other guest I have on is Julie Wentz. She's the Director of Business Development for Brookdale. And, you know, Julie, I didn't say this before, but we were talking about Aging 2.0, and if those of you that don't know a whole lot about it, I ask you and encourage you to go check it out on the Internet. But one of the major sponsors of Aging 2.0 is Brookdale. Brookdale's right up there, you know, on the front edge, and so is Home Instead. And, you know, I know Paul and Lori Hogan, who are the founders of that. So, I mean, we need people that have seats at the table that really get the aging world. Do you remember what I was saying? Tech and aging collide. They're a curator for this to happen. So it's really, really cool stuff. And as I shared with the listening audience when the show got started, I just spoke at the Leading Age Conference, which is a trade association for those communities that are not-for-profit. And we were talking about Aging 2.0, and we tackled a lot of different things. But, you know, one of the things we talked about, and we talked about it just as we exited this last show, talking about, or last segment, talking about older adults embracing technology, talking about how they don't really use their smartphones to their capacity. You know, out of that panel that I had back in February, only one was using it for more than just a phone. You know, the concept of voice-activated technology is huge. The concept of predictive analytics and artificial intelligence is huge. And you look at our older adult population, and you look at some of the voice-activated technologies that are out there. One that we all know about, because Amazon does a great job of promoting it, is the Amazon Echo, which is aptly named Alexa. And what she can do is amazing. She can follow over 2,000 commands now. She can give you the news. She can play your favorite song. She can order you pizza. She can order you a lift that we talked about. She can call your son. She can call your daughter, your grandchildren. I mean, there's so many things that she can do. The opportunities are endless with voice-activated technology. The other part that we did, we talked about social robots. We talked about this Jibo.com. And I know, Julie, you know, I want you to chime in a little bit about Jibo, because Brookdale, it looks like, or sounds like, they're going to introduce and embrace this technology. And this social robot, so I can really share with our listening audience, this is more than Alexa. This is a robot that is intuitive. It learns your behavior. And this robot is really a gateway for loved ones to actually come in and be able to have conversations and learn about what their loved ones are doing too. So it can engage you like Alexa can. It can be interactive with loved ones. There's just the opportunities are endless. And I'll leave it at that. And Julie, I want you to chime in. because Brookdale is an innovator. They are a curator of technologies, and they are bringing about GBO. Talk to us about what you guys are doing.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. Something that we're out in front on and that we do is called an Entrepreneur in Residence program. So an EIR experience is when we're opening up a community to an entrepreneur who's created or developed a new product or service that can improve the aging or customer experience. So we invite them in to spend 5 or 10 days living in a community and testing their product or service with the residents, families, and associates so they can gather feedback and improve and fine-tune their product or service. It gives the entrepreneur a chance to see their product or service in action and gives our residents, family members, and associates the ability to actively engage in the testing and developing of the products. So we're encouraging tech companies to create and invent technologies for the aging population. We're helping be the catalyst to make the technology work in the fastest growing section of our population. And it was really cool that you were talking about an Aging 2.0 this morning. A couple things that you had actually done in your presentation was GBO, this social robot, and URISE, which is an assistive physical product. Well, we actually have 3 residencies that are coming up. One is GBO, and that's going to be in a Brookdale Brookfield, which is Wisconsin. URISE is also going to be in an incoming residency in North Carolina, and something else called New Eyes, which is an assistive eyewear. They're smart glasses for visually impaired people. But there's also other ones that have already been completed, that have already gone through, and some of these they're actually really cool. So there's Carely, which is a caregiver smartphone application. There's Narrative Apparel, which is fashionable adaptive clothing. There's Haystack Dryers, which is a no-contact body dryer. There's 3Scape, which is therapeutic 3D videos. There's Remo. It's gesture-controlled software, and this is where I really see the connection between GBO and if you look at the video for Remo, where you're actually doing normal gestures and making an effect in your environment, whether it's turning the lights on and off, turning water. It's really, really cool. So it's a gesture-controlled software. There's snap laces, which are adaptive shoelaces where people don't have to tie them.
I need those.
Yeah. And it comes in really handy. So we have Parkinson's focused communities. Sure. We have 2 here in Arizona, one in Brookdale, Peoria, and one in East Arbor. And we have certain things that are available to the residents, not only technology-wise, but also things that help their activities of daily living.
By the way, I saw those self-tying laces back in 1984 or Back to the Future or whatever it was when Michael J. Fox
That's right.
just jumped in his shoes and they pulled tight.
That's right. So everything comes forward.
Exactly.
There's Tower View, which is a smart pill box, which helps reminders for taking medication, because we know folks, they may be taking multiple medications. They may not remember. There's Rendeavor, which is a virtual reality software. And then there's Centab, which is an entertainment platform. So all of these entrepreneurs have come into a community and tested it for a period of time to get the feedback from the families, the residents, the community, to help it launch out there. But it's really cool that GBO is going to be one of the upcoming ones and that URISE is too.
Well, you know what's interesting is URISE is really a great innovation in terms of helping people. It's taken an assistive device that was created back in the 50s or 60s and just taking it to the next level. You know, I remember my first Aging 2.0 event. I went in San Francisco, and I believe it was Brookdale. I could be wrong. And you talk about these residents in innovations. Is that what you
Entrepreneurs in residence.
Entrepreneurs in residence. What they were doing, which is really interesting, is that you take one of these entrepreneurs, these innovators, and what they did was they had them live in one of the rooms for a week. Some of them 2 weeks. They packed all their stuff, and they engaged with the residents there. And these were young people. They were eating the same meals, living in the same quarters. It probably was Brookdale, right?
Yeah.
It's just so cool.
Yes.
That they were doing that. I mean, I was just floored. And then you mentioned virtual reality. So they had a virtual reality company there, and they were really touting their virtual reality for people that have dementia and Alzheimer's. And I got to tell you, I mean, I got the glasses on, and I had only done it once before, and I did that with Lexus, and that's a whole story, another story, because I felt like I was in a car, and I really wasn't. But I put those glasses on, and all of a sudden, I was in Hawaii, and they told me I was in Hawaii, and I had been to the exact spot where I was. I was like, am I in Maui? Yeah. Am I in Kaanapali? Yes. I said, I've been on this beach. I mean, it was so cool. And it was so, it was three-dimensional, and the wind was blowing, the surf was going, it was all video. And the other part was I could direct that guy to put, and you can do it yourself by just, like you are with voice activated, like Siri. I could direct it to an address, and it took me to the address where I grew up, and I saw my house. So, those that are having memory care issues, you can do these things with innovations like virtual reality.
Right, and also our iTouch system, which is another piece I'll tell you about. It's something that we use in our memory care communities.
Well, it's hard to believe it. The boss is going to take us out on the third segment. Thank you, James. You are listening to Health Futures Taking Stock in You. I'm your host, Bob Roth. I've got Julie Wentz, the Director of Business Development from Brookdale here in the studio. And I've got Laraine Rodgers from Navigating Transitions. They're an innovative consulting company. We will be right back.
For investors, timberland has become the symbol of safety. Global tropical timber demand continues to surge as the world's population increases. The need for managed, sustainable timber production forests has never been greater. When stock markets crash, trees keep growing. Direct ownership of fully managed tropical timberland acreage is now available to accredited investors. Prime, valuable hardwood groves close to the beautiful Costa Rican border generate and maintain superior long-term wealth. Consider visiting our forest plantations. Qualified accredited investors should go to PreciousTimberProfits.com or dial 855-888-6288 for more information. Call 855-888-6288 or visit PreciousTimberProfits.com. This announcement does not constitute either an offer to sell securities or a solicitation of an offer to purchase. Offering made by prospectus only. 855-888-6288, PreciousTimberProfits.com. PreciousTimberProfits.com.
Hi, I'm Johnny Dean.
And I'm Rick, the Professor Plum.
Every day on Bucket Strategy Investing, we're talking about financial planning, investment decisions, and retirement strategies.
We focus on wealth education and the strategy designed for the needs you have today
and the goals you have for the future. Tune in to Bucket Strategy Investing.
And call in with questions.
Retirement strategies, taxes, Social Security, and more. That's what we're talking about on Bucket Strategy Investing.
If you're listening to this message, then that's a good sign. In fact, we're always interested in good signs. Good signs identify people and places. Good signs communicate important information. With our business, we not only encourage good signs, we create them. We're Croy Sign Systems. Our signs identify, direct, and inform so you can navigate through life faster and easier. And that's a really good Croy sign. Call Croy Sign Systems today at 480-619-6070 or visit us online at kroysigns.com.
It's GNC's lowest prices of the season sale now through June 7th on diet and test support, fish oil, and more. Change begins at GNC. Select products only. Season is March 30th to May 31st.
Now back to Health Futures, taking stock in you. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Cypress Home Care Solutions, Bob Roth.
Welcome back. You're listening to Health Futures, not Bruce Springsteen. Back to back. Thank you, James. I appreciate that. Health Futures, taking stock in you. And we're on our fourth segment. It's hard to believe it. Time just flies by when you're having fun. We are talking about innovations. We're talking about technology. We're talking about Aging 2.0, which is the curator of where technologies and aging collide. And I've got two incredible guests here in the studio. I got Laraine Rodgers. She's got a consulting company called Navigating Transitions. And I've got Julie Wentz, Director of Business Development from Brookdale. So we left off talking about virtual reality. I was talking to you about that. I think that technology is so cool. I mean, you really think about what that does for one, especially an aging person. You know, there's something I've learned, especially when it comes to memory care. There are 3 things that have to happen to enable somebody to delay onset of Alzheimer's or advanced dementia. And that is, 1, they need to take their medications and they need to take in the right dose at the right time. 2, they need to eat their meals, and they need to eat those because there's a reason, and I forget why, but the mind and the stomach are not connected. They start forgetting, right. And they think they had breakfast, but they didn't really eat it. I think I need some of that because I eat too much, but that's neither here nor there. And then the last piece is socialization, and you know what, Julie, that's what communities like Brookdale bring to the party. You know, when I sit here and talk to you about nearly 1/3 of our population that is 65 and older is living home alone, it's so sad. You know, I had Dr. Ed Perrin, who's a geriatrician here on the show 4 years ago, and he talked about how babies get touched over 100 times a day. Where we have older adults, that those that fall in that 1/3 that are living home alone, that don't get touched at all, a week or a month, and they crave it. And, you know, in being in the older adult business, when I see people and I greet them, you know, I will ask, I say, can I give you a hug? And I will tell you, there are lots of people that give me hugs and literally squeeze the guts out of me. And I don't mind.
Yes.
Because it means so much
right.
to them that they have that human contact. We as human beings, we crave that. So I want to toss it over to you, Laraine. I mean, you know, a great sign of brilliance is one that is silent, and you've been silent that 3rd segment. I think Julie and I kind of sucked the air out of the station room here, and I want to be able to, you know, turn it over to you to really finish or help us conclude innovations and aging, and what does our future really look like?
Okay. Well, I think our future is very bright, and I'm quite excited about it. I'm very impressed with all the work you're doing, Bob, and, you know, making sure that you're really a part of the solution. You are. And I'm really impressed with Brookdale in terms of what you're doing for your residents. In fact, the entrepreneur and resident idea is really a sign of a quality environment, system, and enterprise evolving, because the most important thing you could do while developing a product is to understand how that product is used. So that's really key. Whether business, whether you're doing something for a corporation or you're doing something for the adult, you need to know how it's going to be used. Products are part of the solution. Products are very important, especially the tech-enabled ones, as you mentioned, whether it's voice-activated or you touch it or whatever, or it senses you. And when we talk about sensors, many of us are used to wearing, you know, I have an Apple Watch, and, you know, and others have different, and there's Fitbits. I see a few of these in the room right now. So these are things, we're already used to it. We've been converted to using technology to help us with personal things. Then you talked about the social, absolutely key. That's another important component. All of these are uses and outcomes, meaning they're going to benefit me in some way. They're going to help me. But technology is not simple to just throw a bunch of products together and make it all happen neatly as a service. There needs to be something that, first of all, sees the big picture, and we can talk about it like in a room like this, where we're actually, you know, here at the station, where this is my perspective, this is yours, and so on. And then we need to put that in context, and we need to understand what are the services we want to deliver and group them. So there's personal care, there's home care, there's active adult care. There are things where if you're going to be aging in place at home, but you want to go outdoors, there are sensors that will actually say, you're allowed outdoors, you're within 1,000 feet or whatever of the source of this, and they can start tracking you, which leads, Bob, to what you said about predictive analytics. Predictive analytics means you have the data that you need in order to analyze it and in order to learn from it and use on all the various wonderful products that you're using, Julie, at Brookdale, and that, you know, all the other folks you know are using as well. So in order to make all that happen, you're going to gather data. Privacy and security come up as real, well, wait a second, I don't want all this information gathered on me. Right. So that's something that you have to take a look at, understand why security is so important, how to do that. But in terms of how the future is going to be, I see us living to a ripe old age. I see us living more at home, unless, you know, sometimes there's a chronic illness that prevents you from living at home, although you can bring care in.
Yes.
And I know Cypress does a great job of that.
Thank you.
But at some point in time, if you need any type of care that's outside the home, you want all that information to travel with you. It's been gathered forever. Just like you said, the parent's family, the patient's family will talk about what they had. You want that to go with, because that learns. You build on that. That's where the AI comes in, and you can predict things and really help the patient a tremendous amount.
Exactly.
So I see a really good future. I think we just have to be aware of what we're dealing with. Human beings are not products. We are people, and we need to make sure we understand the role of technology as an enabler, not the be-all and end-all.
Right.
Well, you know, it's interesting. I want to unpack a couple things that you said, which is really important. First, I said at the top of the hour, innovations are going to happen down at the ground level, not the ivory tower. And I love the entrepreneurship in residence program. I think that's a brilliant thing that Brookdale's doing, because, as I said, the entrepreneurs are living in those communities, and they're talking to the residents, and they're wanting to know what they want. So that's really, really important. I also want to unpack the predictive analytics. Now, my brothers and sisters in the care business, and I'm talking mainly home health. Home health has been doing this for several years now. And, they are doing an incredible job as it relates to gathering data. If you can envision a funnel where they just dump in millions and millions of people's, health situations, their what morbidities they're dealing with, what is their ethnicity, what is their age, and they can predict, based on all this information, if you all of a sudden have a certain number of morbidities and you're a certain age, they can predict outcomes, and they can kind of get there ahead of the game before that outcome gets you and ends your life. So, I mean, there's so much that's happening on technology, and my biggest challenge here today is that we've really run out of time, and I want to talk more about it, but I think we got great content, and I think we have enough here to maybe bring the both of you guys back. So I think in the third quarter, maybe fourth quarter, I'd like to invite you both back. But I want to end in saying, any final thoughts that you want to share with our listening audience. We got about 30 seconds, Julie.
My biggest thing, we talk about the technology piece, but I think a lot of it is folks really need to be planning for the future. Just in general, we're all going to be there. So really make sure that you have your affairs in order. Make sure you have your information in order.
Great.
Make sure your wills, your advance directive, make sure all that information's in order. And go check things out ahead of time. Go check things out ahead of time and make sure you're okay with staying at home or a community or group home, whatever that looks like. Know yourself as you move forward.
Well, you know what? I think we're done. Happy Friday. Thank you, Laraine. Thank you, Julie. We'll be back next Friday. Tune in to Health Futures. Have a great weekend.
There's no place like home. You've been listening to Bob Roth's Health Futures. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call Cypress HomeCare Solutions at 602-264-8009. That's 602-264-8009. Or visit CypressHomeCare.com. Be sure to join Health Futures with Bob Roth every Friday at noon, right here on Money Radio 1510 and 105.3 FM.
Hey, Money Radio listeners, this is Gary Kaufbaum. Make sure you tune in for my show, Investor's Edge. You'll get my take on the markets and the world and what to look out for tomorrow. Investor's Edge is one of Money Radio's longest-running shows, so don't miss it.
You can listen to Investor's Edge Monday through Friday at 5 p.m. here on Money Radio 1510 AM and 105.3 FM.
Money Radio 1510
and 105.3 FM.
It's KFNN Mesa Phoenix. How are things in your financial portfolio looking right now? Keep listening to Money Radio because they could be looking up. The Dow right now up 40 points, 21,184. The S&P up 6, 2436. NASDAQ is up 54 at 6301.
When people want to talk about money, this is the place they come to. And there's more on the way after this break for the latest news.